Welcome to Seed 360, a Pioneer Seeds Australia podcast for everything in, on and around the seed. So we're here today with Luke Brown, our Field Operations Manager. We thought it would be a great opportunity to have a chat to Luke about what goes on behind the scenes to get those products into your paddocks. So, Luke, do you want to kick things off a bit, mate, with just a rundown on your role and what that's all about?
Thanks for the intro, Cam. Thanks for having me, guys. I joined the business in 2005 as a trainee production agro. So I've had a couple of different roles in that time, sort of progressing to a more senior production agro, then into some parent and experimental seed field management, and then my last role, probably for the last 8 to 10 years, has been field ops manager. So almost 20 years, and it's a brilliant company to work with, especially in our current environment with the Yates ownership. It's a brilliant place to be a part of.
So was this your first role in the industry, Brownie, or you came in from other roles?
Yep. So I'm happy to say this was my first and only interview I ever did out of uni. So direct from uni out of Armidale, applied for a job, didn't really know what I wanted to do. The rest is, as I say, history. So still here. Very good,
very good. Now you're based out of our Narromine site, but tell us whereabouts in the world the role takes you, through producing the products.
Yeah, so obviously our production facility is based there at Narromine. So all seed produced across Australia ventures through Narromine at some point in time. So we've got a number of sort of satellite production sort of areas where we have remote staff based to run all our field operations. So we out of Echuca, out of Tocumwal, in Griffith, and then a few in the Macquarie Valley. That's our major commercial production areas. Then we've definitely got parent seed production scattered elsewhere as well, in the north with corn in the Lockyer Valley, and then we do some off-season production further north.
So why do we move it around so much, Luke? Why don't we just have it all at Narromine?
It's a good question, Henk. Predominantly it's around risk management. So obviously we pride ourselves being a reliable supplier to the market. So if we put all eggs in one basket, as they say, and something happens, we're working in ag and things happen every year. So obviously we don't want to have the whole thing wiped out. So what we try and do to mitigate that risk is to spread ourselves across multiple areas, geographies, environments. So hopefully if there is that environmental impact or event, drought, rain, hail, we're hopefully not too badly affected where we can manage through it.
Do we produce on dry land or how do we do that?
No, and again, coming back to that reliable supply piece, so everything is on irrigation land, has to be 100% irrigatable. Sometimes the seasons go with us where we don't have to turn the sprinklers on too much, but obviously we have to have the ability to. So that can be from flood, overhead, drip, whatever sort of. We've had travelling irrigators, so all types, as long as it can be irrigated.
Yeah, so that's a real key to it.
100%. We need to be reliable, and one thing you can't rely on is the weather. So we have to have that ability. So
I come to you, or the supply manager comes to you, and they want let's pick a number, 10,000 units of A88.
Mm-hmm.
How do we do it?
That then broken down, and we develop our area allocation. So we know obviously the parents that go into producing that, and the yield expectation we can expect off that production area. So that gives us a number of hectares. So that 10,000 bags equals 250 hectares. So what we'll try and do is break that into as many small pieces as possible, again back to that risk management piece, and then scatter that through our production areas. So we've got a great group of core growers that have been with us for many years. We definitely flex and take on new growers when volume permits. Predominantly we're working with the same growers year in, year out, building on that experience that they get as well as we get, just so that we're not sort of learning the same mistakes over and over again, obviously, because everything is a learning process, and the experience our growers get by growing with us year on year pays dividends as far as the results that we can get at the other end.
So let's get back to basics for a minute, Browning. Let's say someone's driving down the road, they drive past a production field, they see things look a little bit different, there's a few funny looking rows in between. Just give us a rundown on how we go about producing the products that the growers see in their paddocks and what it goes into producing that hybrid seed.
When we're producing a hybrid, we're crossing two inbred lines. So basically we're going to stop the self-pollination of one, which we're calling our female or seed parent, and we're going to force pollen from a dedicated donor or our male parent. So we've got male and female lines. So we'll plant percentages of the field to female or our seed parent. Predominantly 75 to 85% of the field will be planted to the female, and then we'll have what we call pollen donors or male rows. So when you think about the anatomy of a canola plant, especially in sorghum, the male and female parts are encompassed in that one flower. So we can utilise two methods of producing hybrid seed. So basically we want that female seed not to have its own pollen, so we can use what we called CMS, or cytoplasmic male sterility, or we can use manual removal of those male parts in what we do with corn, being that the female silk and the tassel, the male piece, are physically separate, so we can do that. Whereas on the canola and the sorghum piece, they're all involved in that one flower, so we can't actually do that. So we use CMS. CMS has always been a part of especially canola and sorghum. Again, back to that anatomy of the flower in those crops, that the male and female part are encompassed in that one flower. So yes, you can hand emasculate each flower, but it would take a lot of people a lot of time. That's more on the breeding process. They're doing those types of activities. So with the scale that we need to do, obviously CMS is key in giving us that ability to produce hybrid seed. So always been a part of the hybrid sorghum and canola. We still do have some conventional produced corn, so there's some older material that's still part of that, but we will find moving forward that that's more of a breeding directive now, because if you think of CMS is something that's integressed, so when we're coming through with the conventional parent to then create a sterile, it's twice the time, twice the work. So a lot of the times that didn't happen because a lot of those products never see the light of day. So, but moving forward with you'll see a big shift to sterile parents being coming through as part of prerequisite in the corn program, so that we have sterile options or CMS options when we get to producing newly advanced corn hybrids. So
gives us a really good rundown on that CMS part, which is pretty critical to hybrid production. So
basically then we have a number of different practices that we do as far as row ratio, planting, setup. Growing the crop is very similar to the commercial version of each, but with some slight sort of dedicated details that we'll apply with our field team. So then once our pollination has occurred, we're basically destroying that male and then harvesting our female or seed parent, and the progeny of that is our hybrid seed. It's got the genetics of both male and female parents. So we use pollinators in canola, so we have to introduce bees just for the fact that the pollen is so heavy. We have to transfer it with insects and use honeybees for that, whereas sorghum and corn is done promptly by wind.
Well, you've made that sound pretty easy, Brownie, but I'm sure it's not. What are some of the main challenges you sort of face in field production? Environmental
conditions, and it comes back to that spreading that risk. Like we're open to the elements, and we're dealing with inbred lines, so they're not as robust as the hybrids that commercial farmers are typically used to seeing. So they don't have the rooting capacity, the water use efficiency, all those things. So they really need to be pampered. So any sort of breath of hot air will make them stress. So good management can be rewarded, but also it doesn't take much to knock them over. So they're just very sensitive, I would say.
Brownie, something that has popped up a couple of times in the last couple of years, since 2020 through to now. I mean, we've had some significant weather events, we've had COVID, we've had all sorts of stuff. What's that look like? How's that impacted how we get about doing what we need to do to produce those products?
It definitely made it difficult. You mentioned COVID in particular, and I'm extremely lucky to work with the team that I have, and I've got to give all the credit to them. The way they managed through those, we've got a major hub in Echuca with Moama. It's a border town, so getting Rogan crews across a bridge was a challenge. But the guys did it. We made it through. But definitely was a few sleepless nights. You look at Varroa, especially in relation to canola, like it is absolutely crucial for our hybrid canola production. So that was some tough times, the uncertainty around those couple of years. So thankfully, I think we're potentially out the other side, or hopefully that we're not going to have too many more dramas with that. But there's definitely some significant challenges. And you mentioned drought, like that puts pressure on everything, costing, so water availability, which comes back to another point about spreading our risk across multiple environments, also irrigation zones. So while someone may not have allocation in other areas, maybe we do. We're very lucky, especially in the Macquarie Valley, to have a great groundwater supply. So they're all the parts that sort of push us to ensure we're in multiple areas. We just can't be silly enough to be putting us all our eggs in one basket. So that's why we'll try and continue to spread out to be able to manage with those events, because they'll happen and they're going to happen again. The next drought's around the corner, but hopefully we're well placed. We've got a great team that's based spread across the place that's given us our best shot at success.
On a quality level, what does quality assurance look like in a paddock? In a paddock production scenario for you and your team, and how does what does it look like as far as trying to get the best product in the bag?
Speaking from a field production perspective, and there's a plethora of different quality aspects that we look at once we've harvested through the plant. But so it starts pre-plant. So we've got guys scouting fields. So we're looking for like crops grown within a certain period of time that we want to avoid. So the guys are out there doing pre-block checklists before we're planting. So they've if they've met that requirement, we're moving in. We're checking planter equipment. So we're there for the full setup, ensuring hygiene is up to the standard. And then the way through the growing period. So realistically, we live in agriculture. Things change and things happen. So the best laid plans can sort of get thrown out the window. So we need to be able to react through to the harvest period. Same thing. We're looking at harvest equipment right through to the plant. So at all stages, we're looking for any opportunity to improve and maintain quality.
Yeah, it's good to hear. Good to hear.
Just looking at, obviously things have changed over the years, and happy to go back a bit further back in time if you want to just give us a bit of an idea of what's changed over the years and some of the processes or advancements that we've had in production.
Yeah, I'd like to say that the process has been much the same. Obviously, ag has changed a lot. It's got a lot more sophisticated, like gone are the days with marker arms and different things. I know there's still a bit of that out there, but just guys needing to make things count, double cropping, the price of everything these days, like everything's just got to work. Yeah, I'd just say the sophistication of everything, and as with commercial ag, it's just seed has followed that same. We're dealing with commercial farmers when we're growing seed, so they've just brought their practices along, and we've been able to jump on that, I suppose.
No, thanks, Brownie. So from us here in this room, the production team is really important for us to actually execute. So thank you to you and your team, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us on Seed 360. Like and follow us for more episodes like this one.